Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. This is the obviously Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel, February 10th, 1990 edition of WCW Saturday Night Review enhancement match from Norman the Lunatic. Norman coming in, hitting a big leg drop on his adversary, and ultimately trying to get as much attention on himself as possible. Hard shots by Norman and the enhancement talent obviously taking a good bit of a beating from the much larger Muckin Singh. At the time, him doing a mental patient gimmick, not exactly the most enjoyable thing, but the confrontation where Sting is jumped out of the Horseman, basically told that he no longer has a space, is here, and needless to say, the swerve of the Horseman run going back heel, pretty aggressive Sting, and Luger and the Steiners, all targets of the Horseman. Flair says that he, as a six-time world champion, doesn't need to worry about anything because he's got everything under control. Obviously, Jim Ross and Jim Cornette putting that forward. The Mod Squad, a tag team. Up next in the simple things there, Memorial Auditorium, Greenville, South Carolina is the place for that. The Dynamic Dudes in a rare match there. Of course, Johnny Ace and Shane Douglas against the Mod Squad. Ace hits a big power slam along the way. Shane Douglas, of course, not exactly a fan of this time of his career, but manages to do what he can where he can and get some degree of value. Of course, the dude's doing the skateboards thing with the kids, trying to get hip, and Jim Hurd, a big fan of this. Hype for the Hotline, among other things. And not really treating the Dynamic Dudes who mistime a crossbody at one point in the match. I'm kind of there, and match takes longer than it needs to. Gut buster by the Mod Squad for a minute, and ultimately Shane Douglas and Johnny Ace do get your victory. Good double team maneuvers leading them there, but certainly their matches with the Midnight Express much more eventful than these here. And then we move off to another in the enhancement versions of things here. The Skyscrapers taking out the wonder that is the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. New Skyscraper, of course, being none other than Mean Mark Callis and Dan Spivey. The brawl with them and the Road Warriors. I believe this is actually from the Clash, but they lay them out a good bit with steel chairs. Do the New Skyscrapers, Teddy Long presenting them, and the Road Warriors getting ready and also do a bit of a basic promo there as they go into a squash match that doesn't last very long. Obviously hitting the power slam from the second rope on the inside, getting them a victory there. Road Warriors on the way out, doing work with both Doom and the Skyscrapers on the way out the door. Skyscrapers eventually being Sid and Mean Mark. Later at a point, Skyscrapers basically are told by Hawk that they are going to prove that they are taller, bigger, badder than ever. Obviously, Mean Mark and Dan Spivey, the Skyscrapers, are managed by Teddy Long. They come out and do a enhancement match of their own, trying to force forward at least some degree of continuation of the battle for themselves. And needless to say, Mark Calloway in some sort of chaps, not exactly what most people wanted to see. Big press slam, though, by Dan Spivey, and a press slam by the Undertaker, Mean Mark, eventually here. And good constant tags by these Skyscrapers. I can definitely see where fans at the time, I was not a WCW fan at the time. I think my first exposure to them was late 1990, early 91, somewhere in there. Hard to remember because I was a primary WWF fan at the time as a young kid. But anyway, top rope elbow drop, and a power bomb by Dan Spivey, leading to the victory there. Spivey never really gets much of his due, or as much as he thinks he should. Then we go to the Midnight Express in a match out here next, enhancement match, and Norman the Lunatic doing some commentary with Jim Ross, which just strikes me as comedy for the sake of comedy. But anyway, Midnight Express, does the drape over the top rope on the inside, the double T maneuver, and very basic series of things here. Then we go to the wonder that is Doug Furnace in a match with, I believe, the Gladiator. This is post that, but the obviously Midnight Express winning with the Alabama Jam from Bobby Eaton. 1, 2, 3, and away they go there. Then we go to, like as mentioned, Doug Furnace in an enhancement situation here. Basically, very basic punch kick, press slam, and a drop kick. And Furnace says that he is a former football athlete, former track athlete, and now going to take over the NWA. Brian Pillman basically has a impassioned plea to Ric Flair about wanting to be able to respect him as a role model, and it's there. Jack Victory and Rip Morgan, the Secret Service highlight from Worldwide Wrestling, so not going to cover that as it's not first run content, but they, being the team of Zinc and Pillman, are victorious in relatively quick order here. Then we kind of go and see the force of Ron Simmons and Butch Reed being forced from the stipulations of losing at the Clash of the Champions to reveal themselves, taking the mask off. Italian Stallion getting a pushed victory here over an enhancement talent. I believe Bob Cook is the enhancement talent there. Italian Stallion doesn't remain pushed for very long, but big power slam and other basic maneuvers along the way there. Then we go to a enhancement talent match with the Steiners. Steiners, a couple of suplexes. Scott Steiner nailing a Frankensteiner. In quick order, Frankensteiner's still a big thing. The Gladiator telling Sting that he shouldn't be on the cover of the magazine, the Wrestling Wrap-Up magazine for local things. Instead, Gladiator basically saying he's going to come in and dominate a big masked guy that he is. Enhancement match for the Gladiator and tossed to the outside. Brawls around with him a little bit, doesn't get everything he wants, but hits a hanging neck breaker, and the Gladiator eventually does square off with Sting. Speaking of Sting, he says that he is ready for Wrestle War. Also, the issues between Kevin Sullivan and Sullivan Slaughterhouse and the former Varsity Club members, including Mike Rotundo, was talked about in a enhancement promo here. Then we go to a very unlikely match for WCW at the time, as none other than Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer, the guys who are responsible for the last battle in Atlanta, responsible for a lot of major angles here for themselves at the time, managed to do battle on WTBS as part of WCW. Just odd that two guys who were in such major feuds kind of returning into a mini feud here, but kind of a blow off on television. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, kind of chomping on Tommy Rich. Rich actually takes him down and gets a near fall on a backslide, but actually holds on to the arm coming out of the backslide, which is interesting in its own right. Arm bars and very basic stuff, but snugness between these two men. And I will say, as much as Buzz Sawyer has a bad reputation for drug use and other unsavory things, very few can deny that he in fact, has some level of major influence over the way that an aggressive heel portrays themselves. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer is someone to watch for that purpose. We go back into the ring and another roll up and a win for Tommy Rich. We will close on that note. We'll be back with more right after this.